Humans have created and have been drawn to music since the beginning of time. And there's something about sound, whether it's waves crashing, bird call, a voice, or an instrument that has a certain enigmatic power. What is this power? What is sound really? While we hear sound every day, we wonder what really sound is. What else can we do with it, and how can it be harnessed and used in other powerful ways? I've been studying music since I was very young, and in 12 years of university work, I've earned degrees in music performance, music theory and composition, music education, and ethnomusicology. I've studied various instruments and musical styles and played different musical cultures from Western and non-Western cultures. The diversity of my training and my experience has been instrumental in gaining a deeper understanding of the true power of sound. Through traveling and doing fieldwork as an ethnomusicologist in different countries and continents, I was exposed to different musical mathematical ratios manifested in sound and time, divisions of sound and time, and various use of music in different occasions and rituals ranging from worship, meditation, rituals for healing and trance, and so on. And that really intrigued me and encouraged me to investigate sound to a deeper level. 6 years ago, I started a research dealing with the esoteric and therapeutic properties of sound from 3 different perspectives: the Eastern philosophical, the Western scientific, and shamanic societal beliefs, to gain a deeper understanding of how sound affects human consciousness. As an ethnomusicologist, my approach entailed the social scientific study of sound in several different traditions and contexts, ranging from the spiritual, religious, holistic, and cultural. Inspired by some of the findings from my research and from my experience with Eastern philosophy and meditation and shamanic practices, I've endeavored to construct a holistic model which engenders mindfulness, and I call this model a sound meditation. The sound meditation is an integrated practice that combines shamanic ceremonial setting with emphasis on breathing exercises and visualization. Specific instruments that I play during the meditation allow people to use sound as a therapeutic tool to disconnect from discursive thinking and to delve deep into transcendental state. The goal is to enable participants to disengage from undesirable habitual patterns and to empower positive cognitive change. Most of the instruments I use are overtone emitting instruments such as gongs, Tibetan singing bowls, metallic discs, bells, and so on. These instruments have been used in meditation and sound healing for centuries and continue to be used. What are overtones? What you're looking here is basically a string oscillation. As the string vibrates, it vibrates as a whole, but at the same time it vibrates in divisions of 2, division of 3, 4, and so on. Sound emitted by musical instruments, the voice, or any other sound source is very complex and can be thought of as an infinite sum of different frequencies. The pitch or tone that we hear has various components. These components are the fundamental frequency and the harmonic overtone series. It's also called overtones or harmonics sometimes, which are the natural parts of that pitch. The fundamental frequency, this is basically C, the string vibrating as a whole. And as it vibrates as a whole, it vibrates in divisions of 2, 3, and 4, and so on. These are only 16 partials, when in reality they go on forever. Now the harmonics emerge at every node right here. This is the lowest note, and this is an octave higher note, 8 notes apart, and so on and so forth. The relative strength or weakness level of these overtones determine the tone color of, or the timbre of a specific instrument, which makes a difference between the sound of a flute from the sound of a violin, or it allows you to distinguish the sound of one person from another person's voice. And these overtones are usually masked. They're overshadowed by the fundamental frequency because it's much louder than the harmonics. Only when we play harmonic overtone emitting instruments such as gongs and Tibetan bowls that we start to hear the overtones. What you're seeing here is the fundamental frequency and its harmonic overtones on a musical staff. And in a bit, you will hear a recording of that fundamental frequency and the individual harmonics. Again, normally you will hear all of them simultaneously. You're gonna see the harmonic overtones depicted right here. Each overtone is one horizontal line. And here you're looking at stereo channel, left and right. And this is a recording of one of my Tibetan singing bowls, basically. You will first hear the collective sound of everything that makes that tone, and then you'll hear the individual harmonics, and then the whole sound repeated once again. Westerners often note that these overtones sound quite strange and maybe out of tune. Here's why. In the 16th century, the West created a new tuning system that we still follow till now, and that's called the equal temperament, which essentially divided the musical octave into 12 equidistant half steps. The half step is the distance between one white key and the adjacent black key on the piano. And most musical cultures in the world, ancient musical cultures, did not adopt this system that we still use right now in the West, and we're so used to. So what's unique about the sound meditation is that the participants are immersed in nature's true harmony. At the beginning of every sound meditation, whether it's for an individual, a large or a small group, I share findings from my research with participants about sound's therapeutic properties, psychoacoustics, power, overtones, the instruments I use, as well as explain to them their role as active participants. Psychoacoustics is the study of perception of sound. This includes the psychological and physiological effects of sound on the human nervous system. The aim of the talk is to give participants context or to better understand what they're about to experience, to gain awareness and to learn to use sound as a powerful tool. First of the elements is mindset or intentions, coming to the experience with specific intentions. Setting, constructing a comfortable and safe and quiet setting. Meditation. Meditation is a practice to bring awareness of the level of activities in the brain, in the mind. During the meditation, an individual trains the mind to concentrate on the breath, sound, a mantra, in order to ease mental activity and to induce a state of well-being. Breathing exercises, visualization and guided visualization, verbal guidance to bring awareness, toning and vocalization, working with overtone emitting instruments, judicious and equanimous listening. I promote an even-tempered, calm, and attentive listening. I also share with participants technique to keep their awareness on the sound, to give them tools to help disconnect from discursive thinking, to quiet the mind, deepen their meditative state, and become aware of the inner working of sound, and to perceive time as a moving present. Judiciously listening to the harmonic overtones, becoming aware of the space in between the overtones, observing the register of these overtones, exploring the sound quality of each overtone, observing the modulation of the different overtones, noticing the varying dynamics visualizing opening oneself to and merging with the sound, contemplating the shifting energy of the overall sound and of the overtones, allowing oneself to be completely engrossed by the sound to an extent where all else ceases to exist. When this is achieved, one becomes the event, losing awareness of the observer. Exploring the ethos of specific instruments. Ethos is a distinguishing character, personality, or feelings of a group of notes. Going deep into the sound until you reach time-stopping ecstasy. The participant's role has been immensely important from the early stages of my research. I wanted to understand what people have gone through during the meditation and what they've experienced days and weeks later in order to understand what sound is doing to people. And I've received extremely valuable anecdotal data from participants, hundreds literally, and these emails have been some of the most complex, detailed, and the longest that I've ever received. I've used this data to improve the model that I've created, and I've compiled some of the benefits of the sound meditation. Quieting the mind, enabling participants to disengage their undesirable habitual patterns, empowering positive cognitive change, allowing participants to manage their depression and in some cases quit antidepressants, diminishing and in some cases stopping therapy session, considerable diminishing of anxiety and panic attacks, bringing the self into a state of inner peace and calmness, establishing a state of resonance and attunement with the self, enhancing one's state of presence and self-awareness, exercising a state of equanimity free of judgment, increasing self-confidence and attention, enhancing one's ability to listen and gaining attention to a greater level of details, improving dynamics between couples, dealing with insomnia, triggering and enhancing one's ability to dream. To date, I've led the sound meditation to over 5,000 people, various settings, group, and session lengths. The general profile of these people has ranged widely. There are some who are familiar with holistic and shamanic practices and some who weren't. Among the participants were sound practitioners, therapists, scientists, meditators, musicians and artists, and so on. The sound meditation has been described by those who received it as transformative experience, life-changing. And a lot of people often tell me that they felt as if something had been realigned or snapped back into grids inside of them. To get some insight on what the brain goes through during the sound meditation, I've conducted several EEG studies with my friend Kevin Kossi from Sacred Acoustics, and the results were stupefying and very exciting. Before I go on into these snapshots, I'd like to explain a little bit what EEG is. Brainwave cycles basically are the different levels of activities, and this is what electroencephalography measures, which is basically the level of electrical activity, which would set the brain into certain frequency level. The delta stay at 0.1 to 4 hertz. Hertz is the cycle per second. Theta stay at 4 to 8 hertz, 8 to 13 alpha, and so on. So these are some snapshots of a 4-hour-long study that I did. This is our subject's baseline brain, Catherine. This is her left hemisphere, the right hemisphere. This is time. It's a span of about 6 or 7 seconds. The brainwave cycles measured in hertz are on the bottom. The blue is very low or no electrical activity measured in microvolts. A microvolt is approximately 1/millionth of a volt. So going increasingly into a little more electrical activity in green, red, yellow, and then white. So one can notice that it's quite a busy brain. So I play a large size gong and loud dynamics, and this is what happens. Notice here we're zeroing in on the brainwave cycle. This is 0 to 4 hertz, and so on. This is a Tibetan singing bowl, which is a very unique pattern that we don't quite understand yet. This high level of activity around 60 hertz, whereas everything else in both hemispheres is flat. This is an eye blink it shows at the end. For the past few years, we've been witnessing a rising interest in sound in a field that's known as sound healing. While there has been some scientific research done, there hasn't been enough of it. We need to do more serious scientific research to better understand how sound impacts not only the human body, but human consciousness. And I truly believe that sound does have a tremendous therapeutic power. But the best way to do it is to promote the correct mindset and to engage the participant in the experience and not just the sound practitioner. And the best way to do so is to use some of these elements that have been in continuous use for centuries, such as mindset and breathing exercises, guided visualization, and specific setting, so on. The more I research sound, the more I realize that it's some type of technology that nature provided us with. A great tool of immense potential to allow us to establish a resonance between the mind, body, and heart. This is where true healing, I think, and I truly believe. But we need to do more exploration and use more the original sound that nature provided us with, and not any altered versions and the modified systems. And basically correctly using harmonic overtone instruments and promoting a certain awareness of them. People all over the world inherently sense this power in different tuning systems and overtone instruments, even when they don't know anything about the mathematical, harmonic, and melodic musical ratios that deal with time and sound. The sound meditation is a practice that allows the receiver to experience the inner healer, the inner teacher. I see this model becoming a practice of self-maintenance, of self-therapy for people at home, and I envision great use in future in hospitals, in nursing homes, in schools, in yoga and meditation centers, in orphanages, in prisons, and correction centers, to name only a few. Thank you.